Okay, so we're going to focus on finding a side with cosine law. So, cosine law is written usually 3 different ways. Triangle only has 3 sides, so if we were to name it alphabetically, it would kind of be like A, B, C. So let's call this angle A, this will be angle B, and this will be angle C. Okay. With those being named, we always name the opposite side of that angle the same letter, just lowercase. So if this is angle A, that means this side here is what?
Side A.
Side A. Okay, and we'll just use a lowercase letter to represent it. With that same idea, that means this becomes side
B.
and this one is C. Good. So this would be side B. Oops, let's do that in green. And this would be side C. Great. Now, cosine law, there's a couple ways we can use it. Cosine law, if we just decide to arbitrarily name the triangle, it really depends on what side we're trying to find. So in order to use cosine law, we need to have 2 sides and the angle in between them to solve for the opposite side. Okay? We have to have that information. If we don't have that information, we can't technically use cosine law. We either have to use sine law or we don't have enough information to solve a triangle. So as long as I have 2 sides and the angle in between them, we can use our cosine law. So in this case, let's say we have angle C and side B and A. That means we would be looking for side C. And in cosine law, the variable on the left side of the equal sign is the side we're solving for. Okay? So these are always what we're solving for, and depending on which side, we can use different formulas for. So for instance, if we're solving for side C, the formula is kind of set up this way. C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2AB times cos C. Okay? If we're solving for side B, that means we have this information. So we have all of that right there. We're solving for B, the formula is written this way, where the B becomes the side on the outside, and we need angle B. Okay. And finally, if we're looking for side A, that means we have 1, 2, 3 pieces of information. This is our formula. Though this could be hard to remember 3 different formulas. They're all technically the same. The only difference is depending on what side we're solving for, that becomes the side on the outside and the angle. It might be much easier for us to remember one formula and then just rename a triangle constantly. Okay, to make it easier. So, I suggest, in most of my videos, if you guys go back and look, we use this for cosine law. Okay, I use this formula. And it doesn't matter which of the 3 you decide to use. Just remember, if you decide to use only one, that means I'm always solving for side C. And I can rename a triangle anything I like. So let's get a question up here. Okay, so example out of nowhere. Here's our example. In this triangle, there are no letters as of yet. So let's say they decided to call the triangle XYZ. Okay, so maybe this was angle X, angle Y, angle Z. Okay, which makes this an X, this a Y, and this a Z. Okay, but those letters don't correspond to any of our formulas. Yeah, so we rename it. We don't have to use the letters they use. I'm going to take their letters away. No, it doesn't. And because I decided that the only formula I wanted to memorize was this one here, that means I need to solve for side C. So, with the information I have this side, and the angle in between. I must be solving for the side opposite of 43. So I'm going to call that side C. That will make my formula work. So this is side C, which makes this angle C. And then for the rest of the information, it's actually not as important. I can name either A or B. So this will be A, side A, B, side B. Okay? So I renamed the triangle for my purposes because I wanted to use the formula where we had C squared was equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2 times AB cos C. And I'm going to write A and B after. Okay? So this is the formula I decided to use. From here, I'm going to plug in all of the information. So, for instance, the colors are working. Our side A is 7. So I'm going to replace both of the a's in the formula with the number 7. Our side b is 5. So I'm going to replace both of the b's in the formula with the number 5. And the angle C is 43. So I'm going to replace the uppercase C with that specific angle. So we plug all of these values into this calculation, which means the one variable that doesn't have a value is our C. That's our side C's, which is what we're solving for. So we have C squared is equal to 7 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 7 times 5 times cos 43. Okay? Now, when we go to work this all out, there's a very common error many people make. So actually, let's do a little bit of the multiplication first. What is 7 squared? Okay? 5 squared? Excellent. What is negative 2 times 7 times 5? Very good. Negative 70 times cos 43. Now, it's very common, and this is a very common error, so pay close attention. Most people will do this. They'll add 49, 25, and subtract 70. Why can't I do that? Bad math. What do I have to do first? Which part? No, you're right, you're right. Neil's right, he's just not sure which part. You do have to do multiplication. Where is there multiplication in this? That's right. This cos 43 is technically times negative 70. So all of this has to be equated first before we can combine it with the 49 and 25. Okay, many people make the error of doing 1, 2, 3, and that will give us something very, very different. So, C squared is equal to 49 plus 25. Okay, cos 43. So let's get a calculator out. You got it? What is it? 0.7, and I got to multiply that by negative 70. So times 70 when it's negative is equal to negative 51.19. Okay? So subtract 51.19. Now I can add these values and subtract this value. Okay, and because I'm running out of a little room here, I'm going to condense it. C squared, we'll put all these together. Technically, this reads negative 51 plus 25 plus 49. So I'm just going to add those values to this. Plus 25 plus 49 is equal to 22.8. So C squared is equal to 22.8. Is that it? Is that what the distance of side C is? That's right. I got to square root it. So you bring this over. Square root of 22.8. Who can do it? Is it? Woo-hoo, 4.77. Nice. Okay, great. So side C is 4.77. We've now solved first side of the triangle. Now, let's say this question asks us to solve the entire triangle. I have a little bit more information. I'm still missing some of the angles in here. What can I use to solve for those angles? Sine law. Why can I use sine law now? Not sine ratio. Yeah, I have opposite side and angle. Okay, so with sine law, if we have an opposite side and an opposite angle, this ratio, we could solve using sine law. And sine law is technically a little quicker. Once you get good at the two of them, it's a little faster to solve. Okay, if you prefer, you could use cosine law again and just solve for the angle. We just haven't talked about how to do that yet, and we'll do that tomorrow. Okay.